Rose, Super Saiyan Rose. Hello, salutations. What to do? Start the gamer off. How to do right gang. You know the vibes. Like subscribe. Let's get it. And welcome to the Aftershow Podcast. I'm joined by the #1 boomer on YouTube, Jay Shucks. What's up?
It's not the intro we practiced.
Imagine thinking we practice.
So that's fair.
I literally started this up. He's like, oh
hey, we're live.
It was like, it was 5 o'clock because I was watching the new movie, the Michael Jordan movie about the Nike basically signed
Air.
that whole story, about them, how they signed Michael Jordan to Nike. Fantastic movie. I saw it was on Amazon, knew I had to watch it. So I threw it on with my lunch and couldn't stop watching it. Amazing. I was done by 5 and I was like, okay, plenty. Now I did my stream earlier for my main channel. So I was like, okay, plenty of time to prepare for the Aftershow Podcast. And instead of doing that, I played Megaton Rainfall for like 2 hours, and I only started prepping for the podcast at 7:30.
I think we are in a pretty good spot now where we don't really need that much prep time. Like we're like Batman, you know? Like
sure. I have all the scenes are set up in OBS beforehand. I have the thumbnail template set up in Canva. All I have to do is put in a new image. It's pretty streamlined. To be fair, it's just a matter of finding stories to talk about. And I was like, nothing really happened except for the PlayStation Showcase and Summer Game Fest stuff. So we could just do a show talking about that. And since you saw Guardians of the Galaxy, we can finally do our proper spoiler review and breakdown. And there's a couple of random stories that we can get into, but we'll start out by introducing ourselves to the world once again. What's up, chat? Welcome. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, follow us on both, and we can get this started. We got Eastwood here. Happy Friday. First one in the building. Appreciate you. Now, we got the bearder one just popped in. What's up? All right. So, once again, we'll hold it down in place of Casual Avenger. Hope he is enjoying his deep dish pizza. And
he doesn't actually do deep dish.
Lies. I don't believe him. All right.
Yeah.
Everyone does. All right, so I got the scene set up. So I think the scene set up. All right, so Summer Game Fest is coming up, and we'll throw this up there for the people because somebody on this podcast will be there in person, and it's not me.
Yeah, I'm going to Summer Game Fest. I keep calling it Games Fest.
Right. I feel like it should be Games Fest, but I had to double check. It is in fact Game Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. A couple weeks ago I got an email saying, "Hey, we're just seeing if you're interested in coming to the event. You'll get tickets to the show, and then we haven't announced it yet, but the following 2 days there is going to be effectively a mini E3, and it's going to be a small setting. I looked up the venue. The fire code capacity is 1,000, and you have to figure that like half of the people that are there are going to be working,
right?
Because there's like 40 different like studios that are there, and so I was like, psh. Well, I was trying to go to E3 anyway, so I was kind of planning on it. Talked to my wife. We both decided, yeah, this makes sense. Like I gotta go because
it's a big deal.
I'm gonna have face with all these companies. it's going to be massive for networking. E3 is usually a good thing for networking, but when you take it and you scale it down like 95%, like it's that much better. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no more. Basically, Jay is saying there's not going to be any plebs there. Everybody who's in attendance is going to actually matter. So that makes it a much better opportunity.
And apparently, I somehow matter. I didn't think I would make a short list like that, but we're gonna roll with it. And I've already made a couple appointments. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about them specifically, but they did announce who's gonna be there. So I mean, I am doing something for WB and something for Magic the Gathering.
Keep it vague. Yeah, just keep it vague. It'll be all good. What's up?
Well, for WB, I don't know. I actually don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's an unannounced game, which I'm gonna assume. I'm purely guessing. I'm gonna assume it's Mortal Kombat, because that's the only thing I can think of that's unannounced.
Under NetherRealms.
Yeah, because that's a WB game. So
yeah,
and
well, technically, there is another unannounced WB game that we know of that I've covered before.
Is there?
Yes, there is. So we know they're doing something Mortal Kombat related, whether it's Mortal Kombat 12 or
it's the
reboot. It's kind of an open secret right now. We know something like that is about to get revealed, but the other game that WB is working on that hasn't been announced yet is a DC game. The DC game is there were back in December, I believe, they were posting a job for it. But this is a game that's been somewhat in the works for a couple years, I think. They initially confirmed they were going to do at least 2 DC games. One of them turned out to be Gotham Knights, and the other one they didn't announce yet, but it was just kind of below the surface. Now, there was one that was canceled, but there's one that is currently in development, and they were hiring for that as of last year. They confirmed, according to the posting, that it is single player open world DC property, and it will be built in Unreal Engine 5. That's all we know so far. We don't know who the character is, but we do know that is the type of game it is. They are working on it currently right now. Probably why we might not see anything big with Gotham Knights. Maybe it seems like, because we haven't got a season pass yet, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any big, DLC expansions, or anything like that.
I think they're done with, from what I understand, I think they're done with Gotham Knights.
Yeah. So, which would make sense if, based on what we've seen so far, and they're clearly have this other game in development, so it's possible that WB may have said, let's shift and work on this one, especially given the comments of the CEO. The speculation is that this is a Superman game. Obviously there's a lot of people want a Superman game. A lot of hype for that, a lot of requests for that Superman game. We know in the past Rocksteady tried to get a Superman game, but WB wasn't going for it. Now, under the current leadership, Zaslav pretty much straight up implied that they wanted to have some kind of Superman thing other than the movie, and just in general, they wanted to have much more emphasis on gaming to take advantage of their IP. So I don't think Jay is going to be playing this unannounced Superman game, because it sounds very.
I doubt it.
If it's a Superman game, because this one sounds super early in development, it's probably going to be Mortal Kombat. But I do expect WB to announce, at the very least, announce what it is at Summer Game Fest.
We'll see. I feel like there's been a lot of pushback lately to games getting announced really early, and people have become less and less patient. Like today, just an example today, Battlefield had to come out and tell their fans to like knock it off and stop harassing devs.
Again.
I follow, yeah, I follow this dude Cornell, who he's basically the what's his face from 2K, Ronnie 2K for WWE. Okay.
Okay. So an asshole.
So, no, he's super cool. I met him at
so
and
so not the Ronnie
like,
2K. Okay. In terms of job description. In terms of job
fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
but like there's this wrestler in NXT named Tiffany Stratton, and apparently her stands have been like harassing him all day, like demanding screenshots, and it's been weird. And he keeps like quote tweeting him, and it's kind of funny, but no, he's pretty cool. He's also one of those people that's actually good at his game. Like I literally watched him like
really
beat. Yeah, like I watched him beat like a ton of the other creators that were there, and then I think I also saw him beat Xavier Woods.
Ooh.
That was highly he has like, you know, if you saw the picture I have with the 2K world title, I think it's actually his belt, and he actually like puts it on the line.
Really?
Like when he fights people, he's that confident. So yeah, I think he's pretty funny. So yeah, but it's been kind of funny watching them go after him all day. So yeah, people are weirdos.
I mean,
surprise.
That's always been a thing.
Yeah. So I feel like I understand why companies want to announce and say, "Hey, this is the thing that we're doing."
Right.
Because they want to have control over their narrative. But like, there's too many people that think that means we need to ask about it every day. You know?
Well, that's why.
And like,
that's why it's good if you can give a time frame. If it's something that's super anticipated, like,
but that
I don't feel like there's a bunch of people hounding Amy Hennig about the Captain America Black Panther game. They announced it. We got the teaser trailer. We have no idea when it's coming, when any time frame for this game is, unlike say with Insomniac with Spider-Man 2, where there's like, hey, here's the thing, 2023, see you then. you know?
Yeah, but that's the other danger though, is because like it's like a catch-22. You can't win, you can't lose. Like you can't. I don't know. It's a no-win situation basically, where like they say, oh, this is when we want to do it by, and then shit happens, and it's like, well, can't do it then, so we're gonna have to push it back. And then people bitch about it, and then they bitch about it more when it gets pushed back again. And then it's like a situation like Avengers, where it was originally supposed to come out in April, and then they pushed it back, and they're probably gonna push it back again, but they're like, no, we've just spent the last 4 months listening to everybody cry about it. Here's your game.
Let's keep it a buck. The Marvel's Avengers not getting delayed again had nothing to do with the fans whatsoever. That was 100% because Square Enix made a bunch of ill-advised investments in some really bad marketing campaigns, and they had shareholders to answer to, and they were like, yeah, we're going to need this out by September, so you can just fix it later.
I'm just basically using it as an example, though, because, like, let's not pretend that there are people that are like, all right, we don't want to delay it again. Here, we'll just put it out. You know, like, at some point, it's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
I get it. I get it. My thing, though, is that I don't think companies in Twitter isn't real life. Like, I keep saying that, but
I agree.
I think it's very important that companies make this distinction when it comes to how they handle their marketing. There's always going to be a percentage of dickheads that are impatient, toxic, entitled. They don't represent the majority. if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to attract the right people predominantly. There's nothing you can't control that small minority of morons. So don't give them more power than they deserve. If you know your game isn't ready, this is why transparency is important as well. Like if people understand what's going on, then you're usually not going to have any problems. Like if you're saying, okay, we're not going to abuse our employees with crunch. We're not going to pull any CD Projekt Red shenanigans and try to manipulate people with fake trailers and stuff that's not in the actual game. We're going to try to get this out in a timely manner. If we need a delay, so be it. Do the marketing that you have to do and keep it moving. I think that's perfectly fine. So if you have a game that's say if you want to announce a game at Summer Game Fest that's not going to be coming out until 2025, perfectly fine. I see no issue with that. That's assuming you've been working on it, for a little bit. You have some confidence in there. People at this point understand that for the most part, delays happen. Companies are still adjusting to COVID. Others better than others. I mean, Jedi Survivor is an example of kind of the gift and the curse of that. EA came up with a way for Respawn to get products out the door fast, but you also ran into the issue of kind of the not quite ready for prime time, performance issues and everything like that. So that's always a risk, but I think there's a middle ground, and I think Insomniac once again is the gold standard. They have a new game out every seemingly 1 to 2 years. They don't have to do delays. They don't do the whole let's just fix it later thing. The games are high quality, it's consistent. They don't have to abuse their employees. Everyone should strive for that, and the industry would be a lot more better. So if you got some stuff to show off, show it off. That's what Summer Game Fest is for. That's what these showcases are for, to get people hype about your products and what you have coming out. If you're not going to show stuff off not for the Game Fest E3 season, when are you going to do it?
I'm in Game Awards.
Yeah, but who cares about that? It's supposed to be E3. It's supposed to be the big thing.
But this isn't E3. That's the thing. And
it's a new E3.
Well, the Game Awards is kind of the new E3 too. I feel like Jeff Keighley has turned it into a twice-a-year event where it's not as important to use E3 as the announcement, window, where they're going to have this second event at the Game Awards, which honestly is, I think, as big of a deal to announce your game as E3 ever was. You know what I mean? Because the Game Awards, part of the big appeal of it is not just the awards, it's what new game is going to get announced, So it's kind of like it actually, I think, makes the industry better in a lot of ways, because you don't have to crunch it into one window. You do kind of have two major windows where you can make these types of announcements. I mean, you can do it at any time you want, right, obviously. But a couple things I want to touch on. Number one, I'm not denying that Jedi Survivor is having issues on some platforms or whatever. I've literally had no issues other than the fact that they tacked on some parkour crap to make it feel a little bit longer. I haven't had a single crash. I mean,
same. I've had a couple frame drops, but yeah, by far my biggest complaint is the parkour bullshit.
Yeah. So I've had a really good experience with that, and I finally beat it, loved it. Number two, Insomniac is also a good example of the type of stuff that these developers are dealing with, because they are keeping their cards close to the vest, and I applaud them for that.
Yeah.
They don't speak unless they have something to say. I don't even think we even actually officially have a release date yet.
We do not. I'll tell you exactly what we have. We have a reveal trailer. We have a screenshot that has been used so much it's become a huge meme in the community. we have the live from PS5, which showed a CG glimpse of Miles and Peter swinging, and we have the official tie-in comic book.
Yeah. So that's not a lot. And I know people are losing their minds over that. And that's like the classic example of even the safest studio that is always going to put out high quality content is like dealing with like this. And there's people doing the same thing for Wolverine. Like, when are we going to see more Wolverine? When they want to show you. And somehow that's not good enough for people. And I understand that Twitter isn't real. We all understand that. But the fact of the matter is, they're the loudest people, and they're the ones making it a big deal, And it's stupid, and people just want everything now. They want that instant gratification, and it's just whatever.
The Wolverine stuff is weird because that doesn't even have a release year yet. Only thing we have release wise on that is based on industry insiders, but generally I haven't heard that much about Wolverine relative to Spider-Man. The hype for Spider-Man I think is a lot more because it's supposed to come out this year and relatively soon. Like, we're talking, fall 2023. We're already in May, so yeah, people are getting a little squirrely because there have been a lot of delays lately, and usually they're used to other studios doing more to promote. This kind of thing. This is basically the same situation we had with God of War Ragnarok, but a little more extreme. Like, God of War Ragnarok, eventually opened things up more. But in general, it was like a long stretch of time where we didn't see anything new for God of War Ragnarok, and people, again, weirdos harassing the devs, being super weird, super impatient. And then a couple months out, they finished up their marketing campaign with a full push. So I expect once I think Insomniac was pretty much just waiting for the showcase, and once the showcase happens, that'll open up the floodgates. And everyone will be fine.
I was looking at the list. I don't see Insomniac.
All right, so I think it's good for us to do this preview now. We might as well do it now. So this is the Summer Game Fest official partner list. You see a lot of pretty much a who's who there. You got so for Summer Game Fest, you got Activision, you got Amazon, Bandai Namco. And we'll just go over some of the stuff we can expect from some of them. So Ubisoft, because there's going to be individual showcase as well. You see Sony's right there on the official partners list. So basically, you're going to have the Summer Game Fest, where you're going to have a bunch of these partners showing off some stuff. Then you're also going to have individual showcases. So PlayStation is supposed to have their own showcase before Games Fest. According to Jeff Grubb, that's happening the week of May 25th. And that will be their first party game. So according to the rumors, we're definitely expected to see Spider-Man 2, but there's also rumblings of a new Metal Gear Solid game, potentially something new from Sucker Punch, like a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Of course, Stellar Blade, which is supposed to come out this year. And we might see some more from Final Fantasy 16 as well. I think we'll probably see more from maybe Death Stranding, something, or Kojima. We'll see what happens there. But Xbox is having their own showcase. 2 of them. They're having one for their general Xbox showcase, and then they're having one specifically for Starfield. And that should give us more. And I think there's supposed to be. I'm not sure how all of them are going to be done. I think Xbox last year did some live stuff, but I'm pretty sure the PlayStation Showcase was pre-recorded last time. I would expect at least maybe the Starfield one will be live. That would be my guess.
So the day I'm leaving, I have to take a red eye home, which I'm not thrilled about. I don't know why. I feel like it's not that big of a deal, but my flight's not till 10 p.m. Pacific on that Sunday, and that's the day that Xbox is doing their thing. So I'm wondering if I'm able to like find a way into that.
You should.
If it's a live one. I don't know if it's a live one because they might just record it, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely worth finding out, because that'd be good. Let's see. Yeah, so Sony, Xbox having their own showcases, and then there's the general Summer Game Fest. So the actual Summer Game Fest, where we're gonna see a bunch of stuff. Square Enix and Disney are there, so people are speculating that there's going to be some Kingdom Hearts potentially there. Ubisoft Forward. My personal prediction, I actually made a tweet about this. I can pull up because I wanted to I made my predictions / expectations based purely on what I thought would get revealed. In terms of superheroes, superhero gaming, based on some reporting that I've gone over. So here's my official prediction for superhero games for Summer Game Fest. So we got Superman from WB Games Montreal. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I think that's going to be the unannounced DC game that WB Games Montreal is pivoting away from Gotham Knights for. Monolith, another company that's underneath WB. I think we're going to get another look at Wonder Woman. The last time we got a teaser trailer for Wonder Woman, and I think that was back in 2021. So around the same time frame, that's around the same time frame as Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. So I think that game is definitely far enough along for another look. So I'm expecting a reveal for that. EA is going to be at the Summer Game Fest, so I think one of or both Iron Man and Black Panther. We know Motive already announced the Iron Man game that's been in production for the last at least 9 months, and they even did some playtesting in October. Game is still a few years away, but we could see our first teaser maybe. Black Panther, that was the other game that was leaked about 9 months ago, 9 months ago by Grubb and Henderson. They had the scoop that there would be Iron Man and a Black Panther single player game. They didn't mention a third game, which was revealed with the official announcement. There is a third Marvel game that EA is working on. It was a 3-game deal, and we know the first is Iron Man. According to Grubb and Henderson, the second one is Black Panther, and that one was further behind than Iron Man, but they were developed they were conceptualized relatively in the same time frame. So Iron Man is expected to come out first, and it was revealed first. So I'm expecting Black Panther, just an acknowledgement that that's one of the games they're working on. Of course, Insomniac at the place to showcase. Where we should expect Spider-Man 2. I think we could see Wolverine potentially. They might just give us another look at it. I'm not expecting that until 2024 or 2025. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got another teaser there. Last time they showed both, so I'm thinking they could serve both. And this one might be a Hail Mary. I did a video breaking down my reasoning, my kind of detective work, but I think Ubisoft is making the Daredevil game. I think that's what's happening here. I'm very it could have been canceled, but I very much know Ubisoft was working on a Marvel game. I think it's Daredevil. I know Marvel. I know there was an old leak that turned out to be true that Marvel was licensing out Wolverine and Daredevil to be used in some games. And right after that leak, a year later, we got the Wolverine reveal from Insomniac, and Wolverine popped up again in Midnight Suns, but we haven't seen Daredevil yet. So I think the Ubisoft game is Daredevil. Now, for those that forgot, there was this whole thing briefly when I think it was Joey Raptor, one of them noticed the Instagram post where there was a mocap session, and it was with a Ubisoft mocap artist, and they clearly had a sign that said Marvel on it. And people assumed, based on the sign, that because it said B. Tariq for director, that they were making a Blade game. Plus they had swords in their mocap. But Ubisoft came out and said directly they're not making a Blade game. They didn't, however, say they weren't making a Marvel game. They just said they weren't making a Blade game. Now, that's all they acknowledged in that regard. So there was definitely mocap happening. There was definitely some Marvel there. We saw the Marvel label right there. They denied it was a Blade game, but they did not deny they were working on a Marvel game. And we haven't heard from that since. And we know Ubisoft had some issues with some of their other studios, but they have a lot of stuff in development that they're looking to show off. Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I think is being delayed internally. There's going to be the pirate game that's whenever that it's gonna the delay of Bones. Whenever that's happening, there was a beta test for that recently. Then they have a couple studios working on Star Wars games. Plus the Avatar game, I think is them as well.
What if we get a Boba Fett game?
It could be. Now Respawn's working on an FPS Star Wars game after this, but based on the influences they were mentioning, I don't think it's going to be that a bounty hunter game, but we'll see. But the one that Ubisoft working on could very well be. It's supposedly an open world game, and that's pretty much all we know. Is supposed to be a massive open world Star Wars game. And
let me just
we don't know what it is. Other than that,
my heart hurts because at E3, I want to say 2012 or so, back when LucasArts was still around,
right?
They announced a game that was tentatively called Star Wars 1313, and I don't know if you ever go back and look at the trailer they showed for that. That game looked like back then. All right, this would have been 360 PS3 days, right? That game looked like next gen now, and it was going to be. The rumor was it was going to be a Boba Fett game because the coloring looked like Boba Fett of the logo and everything, but it was probably going to be a bounty hunter game where you might have interacted with Boba Fett, but you were on like the 13th level of Coruscant. The gameplay for it was incredible, like what they showed. And from what I understand, it was so ahead of its time that they ended up using a lot of the animations in some of the other stuff that they did, like for actual like clone like Bad Batch and stuff like that. Like it was that ahead of its time. And I weep for Star Wars fans that we never got to play that game. I weep for myself. But
maybe this is it, because I believe the studio working on the Star Wars game is the same one behind the Division. So this,
I think 1313 is dead and gone.
For sure.
I think it's like things that's too late. But
a new open world game,
just a Mandalorian game, like create your own Mandalorian and you have your own Mandalorian path, and then you run into a lot of these people and these stories. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
because think about customization you could do. Like you see all these Mandalorians now. Think of all the customization you could have, like making your own armor. Visiting the armorer.
Maybe why stop there? Maybe have a fully customizable path. Like you can start off. You can be a Jedi. You could be a Sith. You can be a bounty hunter. you could be a pilot. Just go crazy with it.
Called the Old Republic.
Oh, I mean they're called massive, so maybe they're thinking big.
I don't know, man. I just want to know that the KOTOR remake is safe. I don't even know that if that's what's happening there anymore.
Oh yeah, so I can actually look up. But the last we heard, the Embracer Group said they were rescuing it essentially.
Yeah.
Now I don't see the Embracer Group anywhere here at Summer Game Fest. I don't see any of their studios except for Gearbox. I don't see. I think Saber is the one that's doing it. I think they took over.
Yeah.
The Knights of the Old Republic remake. So I don't know. I mean, I believe actually the last time we saw the Knights of the Old Republic remake, wasn't it at the PlayStation Showcase, the same one for Spider-Man?
They've only shown that one trailer, one little like teaser.
But wasn't it at the showcase?
No, I think that was during the Game Awards.
The Game Awards?
Because I was co-streaming it. Hold on.
Yeah, let's pull it up because I'm trying to I vaguely feel like that's what happened. Knights of the
it was it was the PlayStation Showcase 2021.
Hey, how about that memory?
Good job. Well, I mean PlayStation, you're gonna remember that. It doesn't make sense because it was supposed to be a PS5 exclusive, I think, right? Which is weird because the original KOTORs were Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, I thought I was vaguely under the impression that it was going to be available on all platforms, but apparently
it might have been like first year.
Here it is. It's supposed to be PS5 and PC exclusive at launch as of August 23rd, 2022.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why it was at the PlayStation Showcase then, because Forspoken was PC and PlayStation 5 exclusive as well at launch. So even though it's not necessarily first party, it's still going to be exclusive. So that makes sense. All right, so yeah, so we actually could see Knights of the Republic remake again if since Embracer Group did swoop in and say that, hey, we're gonna keep this going, we're gonna move it to a new studio, and we're gonna keep it going. So we could actually see it again. That's definitely a thing that happened, and it would not be at the Summer Game Fest. It would be at the showcase the week of May 25th, according to Jeff Grubb.
One thing to keep in mind about the Gearbox publishing, though, that does not necessarily mean like Borderlands or anything like that, because they publish a lot of games too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Gearbox also just absorbed the studio that did Saints Row. After that game was underwhelming to say to put it lightly. They ended up kind of folding them into Gearbox to do some quality control. That was interesting.
a lot of interesting companies though. Kabam, Niantic, and Nexon. I feel like they all do Marvel mobile games. I mean, Niantic obviously has Pokemon Go, but they're not going
Right.
to be showing that.
Mm-mm. No, definitely not. Netflix has gotten big into gaming. Hoyoverse does they do the JRPG stuff, right?
I'm
And
not familiar.
pretty sure. Let me check. I feel like Hoyoverse is JRPG.
Hoyoverse. I don't even see them. Second Dinner also, Marvel Snap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Marvel Chinese company, Miho. Yeah, they did Honkai Impact, Genshin, yeah, MiHoYo is what came up. That's a Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail.
That makes sense.
So those type of. Now that
They had a booth at
oh, actually, hold up. What did they?
Comic-Con.
They did it. Did they do 7 Deadly Sins? Said because this is.
I don't think Reactive is there.
Who did that 7 Deadly Sins? Because I almost forgot about that. The 7 Deadly Sins gameplay trailer came out last year, I believe, and have not heard anything about it since. And it looked straight up like a Genshin Impact clone. But I haven't heard anything. So hopefully, assuming it didn't come out already, and I somehow missed it. Well, Bandai Namco is going to be there. I think this is the one, the open world 7 Deadly Sins, console, PC, smartphone. Yeah, it's basically a Hoyoverse style game. That's pretty much all we know about. So we might see it pop up. Let's like Netmarble is connected to it. So, yeah, it literally looks like a Genshin Impact clone. So you know it's going to be. I already know there's going to be some microtransactions, but I will gladly drop some money to get my boy Escanor. No questions asked.
Marvel does Marvel Future Fight.
Yeah. Did they do Future Evolution too?
Yes, they did. I think actually, you're right.
Oh yeah, we definitely spent it. That's definitely going to be a gotcha game.
I literally never heard anybody talk about Marvel Future Evolution. Like, I can't remember the last time I heard somebody talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, does that still even exist?
Last I heard, they lost basically 70% of their devs and and they weren't getting more updates. So I'm pretty sure that game is just basically dead.
Yeah, a huge mistake. Like, I was actually at the announcement at PAX East. Like Bill Roseman was there, Agent M was there. Whoever the guy is that's like the main guy for Netmarble, I can't remember his name. Danny something. He was there. Like I literally sat there, held my phone up the whole time, recording it. I have a video for it.
Nerd.
They gave us a sticker. But yeah, from like the start of that, I was like, wow, this is not the right platform, guys. Like I get it that mobile phones are in everybody's hands.
True.
And I also get it that people think that if the game is on a mobile phone, they can charge anything they want.
Very true.
For anything in the game.
Also true.
Like, I understand that, but like at some point Marvel has to understand, like, there's only so many times you can put out a game a year. And like at any given time, you've got Future Fight, Future Revolution, you got Strike Force, you've got Snap, you've got what's the fighting one? The one where you fight each other. That's Kabam's. I can't remember what
I'll pay attention to any of these mobile games, bro. I'm not getting sucked into mobile games again.
You got all that. There was even a game that already shut down that was kind of similar to Marvel Snap before Marvel Snap came out, like another card game. Like there's so many like Marvel mobile games, and it's like at some point, the well is dry. Like I don't believe in superhero fatigue in the movies, but in mobile games, yes.
Especially if you're being asked to shell out, $200, $500 a month to be competitive.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting though. I'm very curious to see what's there. I'm very curious to see what this event is like. I've been to E3 once, and the year I went was the first year that it was open to the public. So it was massive. It was crowded. There was just people everywhere. I've been to every PAX East except for one. And that year I went to PAX Prime in Seattle. So like I've been to a lot of these things. And this one seems like it's going to be a much more low-key, smaller event. And very, very intrigued.
A lot of VIP. Yeah, there's
definitely. And I have to figure out what I'm going to do on Sunday if I don't get into this Xbox thing. Because I'm going to have all day in LA. And I don't really want to like do much. I don't want to like, I don't want to get carried away.
Yes, especially if you're in LA, you only literally get carried away. Walking to the store, get gapped by a homeless guy.
Yeah. The only time I've ever used Uber Eats is when I was in LA. Because I was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. But I think what I'm gonna end up doing on that Sunday is I think I'm gonna rent a car, because it's cheaper than like Ubering everywhere, and I'm gonna need somewhere to put my bags. So if I rent a car, and I'll have somewhere to keep my bags, I can just drive wherever I want to go. Honestly, what's probably gonna happen is I'm probably gonna drive to Anaheim. The Angels are playing the Mariners, and I'm probably just gonna go to the Angels Mariners game.
Nerd.
And then that'll be it.
Well, I should have known this would end in baseball. Well,
it's funny because I looked to see if the Padres are playing, because San Diego, I believe, is only like 2 hours away, and I would go. I'd rather go to a game in San Diego, but I also may just drive to Mexico and then like cross the border and then come back just to say I've been to Mexico.
I mean, that sounds way more interesting than a baseball game. Honestly, I'd rather go to the homeless camp than the baseball game.
Well, I am trying to go to all the stadiums, and if I did Anaheim without my wife, that would save her from going to one more stadium. So yeah, I've actually been to Safeco twice. I love Safeco, which is actually I don't even think it's called Safeco anymore in Seattle. But yeah, I don't know. I actually have heard that the Angels Stadium is an absolute dump, though. So I don't know. These are the things that go through my mind.
I haven't been to a stadium in several years. I think the last time I haven't been to a baseball game since I was a little child, but I was going to a couple basketball games with my dad. I think literally the last time I went to a basketball game, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were on the same team.
I've been to one Celtics game, okay? It wasn't even in Boston. It was in Hartford, Connecticut. It was a regular season game against the Orlando Magic and Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway.
Jesus.
I remember meeting Xavier McDaniels and Greg Minor just randomly walking around because the stadium in Hartford is at a literal mall. And yeah, that's the only NBA game I've been to. I don't know why. I've just never like made it. I haven't been to many Bruins games either, but because Boston's like it's like an hour away, and I don't know. Yeah. It's just hard. You just
ended up watching TV. What was it like watching Bill Russell live?
I saw Shaq with a magic. Okay, that's as far as I'll admit.
Jesus.
But yeah,
You
I go to a lot of Red Sox games because it's just easier to get into and it's cheaper. But yeah,
this was, I think this was literally, wasn't that literally the era when Shaq had his first rap album and the Shaq Fu video game, the Shaq Fu video game, which I played.
Yeah, yeah, that was a weird. I don't even know. Yeah,
it was a terrible game.
What?
I'm glad Shaq improved his business sense because he has some terrible products, but he had the Kazam movie. He had the Kazam movie, which was, I don't know, Shazam movie, which was awful. Then he had his rap album, which sold well, surprisingly, and then he had his video games, which were not great, which were not great.
I just keep driving to the Garden, because the Garden is further into Boston than Fenway is, and Foxborough, where the Patriots play, is like it's actually closer to me and easier to get to. I go to usually about a Patriots game a year, give or take.
It's not that hard for me to get to the stadium. Like all the stadiums are basically in the same area in my neck of the woods, but it's probably like a 20 minute trolley ride if I wanted to go that route. It's just a matter of, the money, the parking, the time investment. I do want to go back though, because the last time I did go, to me the highlight of the stadium, watching the players live is cool and everything like that. Seeing those freaks of nature in person, pretty crazy.
In person.
Yeah, I saw literally the last one I saw. I was kind of the perfect game for that because I saw Westbrook and Durant when they came to town. Seeing how
you guys have a bull riding place right by those stadiums. Yeah. My wife and I went to a Phillies game a few years ago.
Yeah, they had the Phillies stadium. Then it was the place where I think there was a spot where the Globetrotters would come. There was a spot for the Phantoms, the local hockey team. They didn't have the Eagle Stadium. They got everything conveniently located around there.
Good. And it's kind of on the outskirts too. It's not like in downtown, but it's Philly proper, I believe. Because we drove there. We went down to Baltimore for 3 Orioles Red Sox games, and then on the way back we stopped in Philly. I don't remember who they played, but there was a guy named Joseph on the Phillies at the time. So I just have a picture of my wife pointing to his jersey.
Joseph.
I didn't buy it. Yeah,
something.
That's obviously. So
I miss the main thing I miss is the food. The stadium food they had when I went to the Sixers game was amazing. We went crazy. We went a couple of times. The first time we had kind of regular pleb seats, but on the way in there was a stand that was selling just giant buckets of French fries, and and I grabbed one. They were amazing.
Yeah, so 2 things. We went to Gino's and Pat's that day too.
Boo.
So
tourists. That's fine.
As far as stadium food goes, the best stadium food I've ever had, I went to a Patriots 49ers game in San Francisco, and they had these garlic fries that were just amazing.
Garlic fries.
Literally the best stadium food I've ever had.
Now, what I liked about the Philly, the Wells Fargo at the time, I think it's still Wells Fargo Center, they have amazing food stands down below. Then the guys that are walking down the aisles, they're selling stuff like water ice, amazing quality Philly water ice. But this other time we got tickets in kind of the VIP-ish area, where you're not on the floor, but you're up, you're a little higher up, but you're sitting in an area where there's a bar. They bring you ice cream and stuff like that. That's some good stuff. they bring you the good stuff out there. There was a Sunday bar. They had steak. It was pretty sick.
Yeah. I like going to. I like to try to take my mom to one Red Sox game a year because she really likes to do that. And then if I can finagle, like I know people that have tickets for the Patriots. My cousin Kendra used to have her father-in-law had season tickets, and I used to buy one game off of them a year. And they had really good seats too. So they don't have them anymore. So I know enough people. I like to try to get to a Patriots game because it's fun. Like being at a live football game is kind of fun. Baseball is cool because like you can just hang out. It's not like live or die by every play. I do love going to hockey games. It's so expensive now, man. I don't know.
I've never been. What? I've never been to a hockey game, but I used to love playing hockey video games. Like I'm mainly in it for the fights.
Hockey is such a fun game. Like it's such a fun sport to see live because it's so fast paced. But yeah, I hate going to the Garden. It's like annoying to get in and out of, and I think like it's just I don't think it's a great facility personally, but
Ooh.
I
think I've only been to I've been to basketball games mostly. I've never been to a football game, and I think I've been to a couple Phillies games. I don't think I've ever actually. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone to a football game. I kind of don't actually want to at this point.
Yeah, football is wild. Let me just tell you, okay. The worst experience I've ever had at a professional sporting game was at that 49ers Patriots game in San Francisco. Keep in mind, we are not even rivals with the 49ers. I was already mad. We bought the tickets like before the season started and bought our plane ticket out. We had a friend I went to high school with that lives out there, so we stayed with him, which was great. But like that was the year Tom Brady blew out his knee.
Oh.
So like it was supposed to be his home game, like his first time playing in San Francisco. So we were like, oh, that'd be a cool game to go to. He's not even playing. We get to see Matt Castle. Okay. But like I'm there wearing, it was right after the Celtics won the title. So I was wearing a Red Sox hat and a Celtics long sleeve t-shirt. And I cannot tell you how many mental midgets in San Francisco could not handle that. So many people walked up to me and were like, "Wrong game, asshole."
I don't think you can say midget anymore.
Yeah, you're right, I guess.
It's 2023, Jay. You have to.
Okay, we'll blame this on me being old. Okay, I thought that.
You have to call them Nazis or something. I think that's what they call.
Mental bigots. Yeah, like I cannot believe how many people were like in our face. And I went to a Red Sox Yankees game at Yankees Stadium. All right, I sat in the Yankees side of the field.
You're brave.
And nobody gave. I was wearing a Red Sox jersey. Okay, and nobody gave me crap at all the whole time we were there. And I'm at a 49ers Patriots game, and people are like losing their mind because I'm wearing a Red Sox hat and a Celtic shirt, and we beat them, so whatever.
Well, to be fair, San Francisco is trash, so.
Crazy thing is, though, like it's a beautiful city. I've been to San Francisco a couple times. My wife and I went like right before COVID, and we loved it there. And it was really great. And I love their baseball stadium. Like, it's my favorite stadium that I've been to. But, man.
Beautiful, expensive, trash city.
Oh,
assuming you like Hollywood. I think they had the Shang-Chi took place there. They can, and I think you can clean it up real nice. But current San Francisco is not like the old San Francisco.
Yeah, no, And listen, even then it was starting to get that way, but we didn't experience it. We went to we had a kind of very from the movies motel, one of the ones where you've got like the outdoor, doors, like the, I don't know, it was in the shape of like a U,
Right.
and there's like the out. It's not an indoor hotel to get to your room. You walk in from outside, all that kind of stuff. And it was like just down the hill from the piers a little bit, but there was a diner like a street down. It was in some movie, I forget what it was, but we went there and it was pretty good. And the one takeaway I have from it was they had California orange juice. And everybody thinks of Florida orange juice.
Right.
Like, ever since then, orange juice has been ruined for my wife. Like, we still talk about that orange juice. It was like a different shade of orange, and it was so much better. It was so good. Anyway, I don't know how we got here, but that's the after.
I mean, it's the Aftershow Podcast. We tend to go on tangents, but yeah, but the main thing, we went to cheesesteaks and sporting events from our Summer Game Fest preview, but basically gave a rundown of some of the games we expected to see at the Summer Game Fest that's been announced. I think CD Projekt Red is up there. So
before we move on from cheesesteaks.
Oh,
okay.
I
know why you rolled your eyes at Pat's and Gino's.
Yes, I did.
They're the two ones, right? And I was not impressed. I didn't think they were like that great.
Yeah, they're for tourists.
Yeah, I get that. My wife just texted me and said it was the best OJ I've ever had.
Best OJ you ever had. Yeah. That those if you want good cheesesteaks in Philly, you got to take some risks.
Well, all right. Here, before we move on from cheesesteaks, are all cheesesteaks in Philly Cheese Whiz?
No.
Okay, because I hate Cheese Whiz.
You can customize. You just gotta tell them what you want. With whiz or without whiz. I don't mind whiz. I like the more cheese the better, but I like it extra greasy. Obviously, salt, pepper, ketchup. One word: salt, pepper, ketchup.
You know what I like on my steak and cheese? I like mayo, and I like onions, and I think I like American cheese. To be honest with you, I just feel like it's American gooier.
It's great. American. I usually get American cheese, add whiz on top of it, little mayo, mix with that with the salt, pepper, ketchup. I used to hate onions, but now I don't mind them on a cheesesteak as long as they're big. What I don't like are the tiny onions on my sandwiches.
I got you.
That's my ick. I don't. If you give me tiny onions, I'll punch you in your chest. But give me a nice ring of fried onions, and I'll eat those happily on my hoagie, on my cheesesteak. We're good on that.
All right. So I'll go ahead and that'll be the end of cheesesteak talk.
We love our food here, but
it's clear.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red. I still haven't played Cyberpunk. Probably won't, but they're probably going to show their DLC with Idris Elba / expansion.
I really like Cyberpunk, man. Like
I know.
Issues.
I'm not
cheap now.
I know. I could absolutely get it for cheap. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. I'm taking a stand because Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red is the gold standard for trying to get one over on your customers. They single-handedly tanked the gaming industry and made players forever distrust developers. That was such a catastrophe. Even though the anime was incredible, I refuse to play the game. Even when they had a free trial, nope, I'm not touching it. I just had to draw the line somewhere. I'm glad that they turned it around or whatever. They fixed a bunch of stuff. They added new content. Good for them. You're not getting my money. I dodged that bullet at launch. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting in. It ain't happening.
I have no regrets.
All right. Now, they also have a new Witcher game. I think they're doing a remaster. They did a remaster, and they're making a sequel. So I'm expecting a Cyberpunk expansion trailer, maybe breakdown, something like that, and something on the Witcher sequel. And we'll see. We'll see what we have there. Maybe I'll give them a chance on the Witcher. Personally, I've never played any of the games. I like parts of the first season of the anime, mainly for Henry Cavill. The animated Witcher was fire. Love that one on Netflix, but not a huge Witcher guy. But the games looked okay, so we'll see. We'll see with that.
I love The Witcher, and I'm actually sadder that Henry Cavill will never be Geralt again than I am Superman.
That's fair. he did a great job of that. Now
he was so good.
Now Capcom probably more Street Fighter 6 stuff, but I'm mainly waiting. I know everyone's waiting for that Metal Gear Solid announcement, which I think is definitely coming. And me personally, I think it's been a while. I think it's about time for another Devil May Cry game. I think we're at that point. Usually like a couple years go by and people start getting a little itchy for some Devil May Cry. I think it's time we get back in there. Some more Devil May Cry. So Capcom, hook that up. And Andy, holla at me. I need to get in that program.
Andy's there. Oh, North Beach Games. They have a Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, isn't the Gollum game supposed to come out soon?
I think so. It was at PAX East.
Yeah, the Gollum game is supposed to be out soon. I think it's out this month or next month. But yeah, WB specifically mentioned Lord of the Rings on their earnings call when they were talking about the different IPs that they have that they want to get into gaming. I know the Bandai Namco is going to have that new Naruto Boruto game, Connections, that's supposed to be dropping. We already got the reveal of the new Budokai Tenkaichi game, so maybe we'll see some more on that, and possibly a new game. I mean, that we were hearing rumors there was a new Dragon Ball game. People thought it might be a sequel to Kakarot, so I guess that the new Tenkaichi might be it. But I would love a sequel to Kakarot. I know there are going to be more Kakarot DLC. They already had the new season pass. Bardock was the first one, so we could get some more out of that. I see Amazon's there, so probably something Tomb Raider. I know since Crystal Dynamics moved on from Marvel's Avengers, it's been all hands on deck for Tomb Raider, and Amazon pretty good finesse by Embracer Group. They bought they bought those companies off of and IPs off of Square Enix for a pretty good deal. Then they flipped Tomb Raider to Amazon, and so now Amazon is going to be covering the publishing costs of that new Unreal 5 Tomb Raider game for Crystal Dynamics, and Amazon's also getting into expanding Tomb Raider with like shows, I think. So we may get that first look at that Tomb Raider game, but it's Crystal Dynamics, so who knows how that's going to go.
We're going to see more Final Fantasy.
I mean, we could guarantee we'll see some Final Fantasy 16. We already know, and I think there's another Final Fantasy. Was it 7? What's another remake is coming out or something?
I think there's like a third chapter.
Yeah, there's going to be a third chapter. Yeah, so
the interlude, right?
Yeah, so I didn't play any of them, but I'm assuming it'll be. I heard something about 7 getting some more support, so I'm sure we'll see that. It looks cool. I might have to get into the remake again because I definitely want to play 16. So, yeah, but I haven't been keeping up. I would be surprised. I know we got a teaser for Kingdom Hearts a while ago, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it again. A little update on that. But personally, I'm just waiting to see if I'm right about that Ubisoft game, because oh my god, the bragging I will do. Oh man, imagine if we're watching that and we see Daredevil pop up. My video that I made about that, it's gonna blow up. I'm gonna be doing my victory lap on Twitter.
It's gonna blow up.
I'm gonna be eating good that day if they reveal that. So fingers crossed. But what people really want to see is Marvel Spider-Man 2. And we just the latest we got, because Insomniac has been keeping it close to the vest, is the comic, the tie-in comic from Gamerverse. That is basically a prequel. It's a sequel to Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales, and serves as a prequel for the Spider-Man 2 game. And I actually read this. It's free. If you want to go to marvel.com, you can read it digitally for free. If you weren't able to pick it up at your local comic book store, did you read this, Jay?
I got my copy, but I didn't read it yet.
It didn't take me too long.
Kind of gave me a idea of what it was.
Yep, I did a video breaking it down on my channel, just because there was some interesting stuff in there. Because when they first announced it, somebody got the copy early and they leaked some of the pages. That's how we knew the Hood was going to be the main villain of it, and right. Did a little backstory. But after actually reading it, turns out they went with a more grounded version of the Hood. Is interesting. Instead of going full magic, there definitely was some magic in there, though. I will say, which was interesting. So in the comic, spoiler if anyone who hasn't read it yet, but the Hood, unlike his comic origin, is basically just using repurposed tech left over by the Tinkerer and trying to make it look like magic to commit his crimes along with his crew. But the Lifeline tablet that he steals is very much magical, and he's trying to use it to cure his mom, who's dying of cancer. But there was an interesting bit. Now, it doesn't work when he uses the Lifeline tablet, but it also kind of does. So the whole thing is that Peter and Miles don't believe in magic. Like, they straight up don't. They think everything has scientific explanation. So it's likely they haven't encountered much in the way of magical foes so far. But there was a moment at the end here with the Lifeline tablet that was pretty interesting, and I thought was kind of Insomniac's way of showing there will be in fact be magic in their universe, just maybe not all at once. So Peter and Miles confront the Hood, and they find that he's trying to cure his mother with the Lifeline tablet. And he reads the tablet, but the tablet doesn't work on curing his mom. But it looks like it does. As you see here, this panel was particularly interesting. This is what piqued my interest. This is what happens after he recites the incantation from the Lifeline tablet. So the implication here is that it is magical, but it's possible that he maybe read it wrong, or there's something else that you need in order to harness the power of the Lifeline tablet. But I think this panel was specifically done this way to illustrate that there is magic in this Insomniac Spider-Verse, and this is kind of just like the tip of the iceberg, which is exciting and kind of cool, like that they didn't go all in, because the assumption up to this point was that it's not, there's no going to be no magic, it's all tech. But then this panel is like, oh, wait a minute, and then after this, of course, his mom isn't cured, but you're like, but something happened, so there's some magic. And he got this Lifeline tablet from another Marvel villain. They introduced a couple there's another Marvel villain in this one. The Foreigner. That's definitely a deep cut. The Foreigner is I think that's even testing your knowledge, Jay. You know you know you don't know the Foreigner?
No.
So he's a villain he's cross paths with Spider-Man in the past. But the most interesting thing about his backstory is that he used to be married to Silver Sable and he dated Black Cat. So that this man's Riz is on another level. at the very least. And he's got a type. Definitely got a type. But his whole deal is like in the comics, he's a big mercenary, but an assassin and like a smuggler. In the comics, I think he gets a hold of the Infinity Formula, so he's very well connected. He does have power, but that's not his main thing. His ability is that he has a hypnotic stare. So for 10 seconds, he can put you in a trance if you make eye contact. And he mainly uses that to make people think that he can like teleport or move at super speed. Interesting character, but in this one, he's just hinted at because they're trying to track down the smugglers to find out what the Hood and his crew were trying to steal or try to get enough money to acquire. And apparently it was the smuggled in Lifeline tablet they were trying to buy. They were basically stealing so that they can buy it from the Foreigner. And then he tried to use it to cure his mother. So I can definitely see the Foreigner popping up at some point, especially since he's got that connection to Silver Sable, who was a big part of the first game, as well as Black Cat, who was a big part of the DLC. I think that he could be like an interesting side character or something they can incorporate throughout in some way. Based on the ending, the Hood is kind of giving up his life of crime, and is going to be on the side of the goods. I appreciate that, T. Robinson. But this was an interesting story. This was okay. It sets up a couple interesting things. So for one, we're going to get Queens as a new location. They have to now because Peter no longer lives in that apartment. He officially moved out and is living in Aunt May's old place, struggling with the mortgage a little bit because he ain't Tony, and Mary J doesn't want to move in with him yet. And also it looks like he's trying to become a teacher, so we might end up seeing him and Miles at ESU because Miles is going to apply there for college. So that'll be kind of the dynamic that they set up, I think, going into that. And I'm, for one, definitely looking forward to some new scenery. I love me some Manhattan, but that'll be a nice little change of pace.
I think that's like the one thing that Insomniac doesn't have going for them is, we've already seen it in 2 games.
Yeah.
Not that different to kind of give that to us in a 3rd game. I mean, it is what it is, and I feel like you kind of have to understand that going into it, but I mean, it would be nice to like expand upon it, Yeah,
at the very least, they could definitely improve and change it up a little bit in that area, because the Aunt May's house, automatically very different environment, scenery from what we're used to when Peter is jumping out of his apartment. A lot greener. For one, it'll be a nice little change. Definitely.
I'm completely okay if they just revamp the map that they already have and just add on to it. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
If they come back with basically the same map, like, it
would be weird. It would be weird if it was like the same map.
It would make sense, and I would understand an argument that they could make for it, but because at the end of the day, New York City is New York City.
Well, sure.
That's where Spider-Man is based. you're gonna have a Spider-Man game in New York City. So I just feel like, you know, is this is next gen only, right?
Next gen only, but it will eventually be on PC, I think.
Okay, well then that doesn't matter. So, you got to use that power, and you've got to have other boroughs,
Yep.
Queens.
So there's his the backyard where he's doing some grilling. That's the area where you'll be in when you're at your home base.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, honestly, like if reusing that environment makes them get the games out faster, like whatever, but
yeah, we know what people are really here for. They want to see that symbiote. They want to see Venom. They want to see Venom. They want all that. They want all that.
They want to play that Mary Jane mission.
For sure. Funny enough, there's definitely a lot of Mary Jane missions in this comic. Kind of, she's like she's very much along for the ride. They made it very clear she's like a third member of this team. She went with them on one of the missions, in fact, but it's basically, Miles and Peter, bump in, they're the muscle, but Mary Jane is kind of like she's like the man in the tower, she does her research and, we'll look into things. So, I know
and the comics are a little upset this week at Mary Jane.
I heard.
Yeah. So apparently she dumped Peter for good.
Yeah,
she's getting around on him.
I tell people on stream today, like, I don't consider the current Spider-Man comics canon. I think the best way to look at it is that it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. Insomniac has got a good thing going. The MCU is pretty good. Sony's pretty good. Across the Spider-Verse is pretty great so far. That whole thing. If you hate the Spider-Man comics, don't read them. We know they suck. You want to read a Spider-Man comic? Read these. Read the Gamerverse ones. They're in the Insomniac universe, because you know what's gonna happen. Everything's gonna get retconned eventually, and there's gonna be some universe Sodidi or some crisis event, and everything's gonna get revamped and rebooted when they see the sales are plummeting still. So who cares what Mary Jane's doing right now? They're going to change it later anyway.
Yeah, we all know that they jumped the shark when they started, passing out Spider-Man costumes like they were Oprah. You're a Spider-Man, and you're a Spider-Man, and everybody's Spider-Man. Even Nightcrawler is a Spider-Man now.
There's nothing Jay hates more than diverse Spider-Man. But to be fair, they do go.
I don't like the blue Spider-Man.
They go way. They do go way over the top.
Yeah, like if you want to make the argument that there's Miles Morales, all right, fine. If you want to make the argument that in 2099
that was reluctant. Said fine.
All right, fine. But like
Black Spider-Man, fine.
No, but like it's just a microcosm of everything that Marvel does wrong. Is they just keep passing around the costume, like it's Halloween, and it makes the characters less special,
I can see that for sure.
And I understand, like, Miles makes sense, Miguel makes sense, Gwen makes sense, but like now you're trying to sell me like Spider-Man UK white guy, went with the white guy first, you're trying to sell me
Spider-Man in a wheelchair.
There's literally a Spider-Man in every, Spider Ham, like it's like
anime Spider-Man, Spider Pig.
Yeah, there's literally all these Spider-Mans, and it's like, no, Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and I honestly think they would be doing Miles a favor if they kind of just gave him his own identity.
I think they should. I mean, well, they tried before with what is it, Kid Arachnid?
Oh, it was gonna be worse than that. They were gonna call him Spy D.
Oh yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah, so like
fucking
it's
cringe.
not better off taking on his own thing, you know?
Ugh.
Is that a fat joke, Eastwood?
Jay, it's actually Jay could do.
I don't think that's how he meant it. I think
Jay could do mocap for Spider Ham. That felt like a fat joke.
It did.
I'm reading that. I'm reading that as a fat joke. He said, "Because why Spider Ham?
I took that personally.
Why Spider Ham in particular? Why not Spider Gwen?
Yeah.
Why not Spider Gwen? You know,
don't assume my gender.
I didn't assume anything. I'm just saying
All of them.
Gender doesn't. If it doesn't matter, then you can do mocap for anyone. It's just mocap.
Yeah.
That's all we're talking about.
Isn't it a short joke?
Yeah, laugh is over. Yeah, Eastwood, explain yourself.
In what way should I be offended? I come from the Sadat the Gamer school of internet, where I have to find offense to everything.
True. I mean, I think if he can handle getting called white supremacist once a week, I think he can handle Spider Ham joke.
Listen, not many things bother me.
You gotta. It's the internet. It's the internet. You gotta be able to roll with it.
I both know what the internet was in the early 2000s. Okay, I can roll with it.
Besides, you can easily make fun of Eastwood back. He's like he's probably older than you, and he watches Fox News.
Oh, man.
The face shaking. Like, oh no. He's one of those.
Yeah. I don't care. I think none of them have our best interest at heart.
Hot take. All politicians are bad. Hot take.
Yeah.
we'll declare it. Politicians are dishonest. Here.
Didn't they say they were done with Uncharted though?
Yeah, I feel like they wrapped it up. I mean, they could still do more, but I know Amy moved on to the Skydance Marvel project. But I think I'm not an Uncharted guy. I haven't played any of them, but I thought I heard the last Uncharted was the last one, but you never know. It's a popular IP, which means it's bound to get a remake at some point, and a remake can easily become a sequel or a reboot.
They like money.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like Naughty Dog we know Naughty Dog is gonna be showing some stuff off. So we know they're gonna be milking The Last of Us. They already announced the multiplayer Last of Us game factions last year. They said they're going to have more information on that this year, so that's probably going to be the PlayStation Showcase. They'll probably announce a Last of Us 2 port for PC that hopefully is not as terrible as The Last of Us 1 was for PC. Because that was not great. And I heard they're also potentially announcing Last of Us Part 3. Could be I heard that's been in the works, and that's something they're ready to announce, which I'm like, The Last of Us 2 game was the actual game itself in terms of gameplay, graphic, that was fantastic. The story not very good, and the way it ended didn't really leave much for a sequel to me. I mean, it was pretty depressing of an ending, really. I felt like it was I felt like they kind of just I felt it was kind of all over the place, and then it kind of ended like unsatisfying. It's like we basically grew up with Ellie, watching her grow in the first game with Joel, and all these adventures. and we just wanted the best for her. And then we see how they did her in this game, where she just ends up bitter and alone. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I've never been a Naughty Dog fan, to be honest with you. I think they make good looking games. I just don't. I don't like shooting in their games. Like I hated Uncharted.
I never play. I have the whole collection. Never played it. Never played it a second. Never played it for a second.
I tried here and there. And I just never got into it. And that's the same thing with The Last of Us. When The Last of Us came out, I was stoked. I bought the collector's edition, and I made it a little bit of the way. I probably made it like 3 or 4 hours in, and I was just like, I don't like this. Like, it sucks.
I love the first game, so I had no complaints there. And even though I hated the story, I thought the second game was really good. I enjoyed it, but yeah,
I've heard it's watched Caboose play it a little bit on stream, but
yeah, I felt it was pretty great, but in a lot of areas. But yeah, again, the story was really bad. But I don't know if they do a third one. I'm honestly probably not going to get it, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try the multiplayer one. But speaking of companies dropping the ball, Marvel apparently lost another 4 million subscribers. This has been a story this week. Disney Plus lost 4 million subscribers. Apparently, they've been consistently losing subscribers and money every quarter. We know a while ago Disney had those massive layoffs. They've so far been losing money on Disney Plus. They part of the loss of recently was because they had some deal to do cricket games. So they had a lot of India based subscribers. So once that fell through, they bailed, and they reportedly also lost over 300,000 just in the US. And that was during the period where the new season of The Mandalorian dropped, which was it was fine, but a lot of people weren't thrilled with it or really blown away much by Disney Plus. So it's interesting because we'll get into our Guardians of the Galaxy review, because I love the movie, but even that had a disappointing opening weekend, and feels like Disney particularly is really kind of struggling to get that magic back. Like even with having what I thought was a good movie, like Disney Plus. I can understand why Disney Plus is losing subscribers. It's not very good. It's not very good. Like I try to remind myself. I'm mainly keeping it because Secret Invasion is dropping next month, and I'm going to be doing content on it. But it's like I was like, oh, let me remind myself to watch something on Disney Plus. Like there's the anime, you can't access the anime unless you use a VPN, which strike one. Then and so I was like, okay, well, and a lot of content is older nostalgic stuff. Most of the originals are terrible, and obviously they had a lot of hit or misses, with their Marvel Disney products. But I started watching the new season of Star Wars Vision, because I thought the first season was incredible. I think I'm up to the third episode. First one was pretty good. Second one was so we'll see how this one plays out. But yeah, Disney Plus, not a great subscription service right now, and
yeah, did not have enough content.
And they're just getting Spider-Man back, but it's like, okay, we've all seen those movies anyway, so it's kind of like, like I like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, but that's not going to have a lot of mass appeal because no one knows who those characters are. Yeah. So, and now they have another what was supposed to be major movie for them that seems to be underperforming at the box office, and this one was actually good. This was great.
I'll tell you this: Moon Girl's character minifig in Lego's Marvel Superheroes 2 is one of the best minifigs in any Lego game. Like,
There
just
you
her
go.
animation and everything is so good.
Oh, there
I
there
just
you go. There you go. I did not play. I did not get to that point in that game to play her, but yeah, I did. I am enjoying it. I haven't finished the show yet, but I did like it. I thought it was going to be dog water, but Miller was very excited about it, so I gave it a couple episodes, and it actually liked it. It was pretty. It was pretty good. The animation is incredible. I thought
the
that's something.
the problem I think Disney Plus has is they need to just merge with Hulu.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's the big issue. I think that it's a better value because I mean Disney owns Hulu too.
yeah,
So it's really just a matter of if you put those two products together and people will keep that, you know?
I would
But the
absolutely.
problem into is like when Netflix came out, it was like, okay, cool, this is great. You know, they were the king. We've got this one subscription service, but then everybody's like, wait, I want a subscription service. And now you've got like 47 of them, you know, and we've got a bunch of them. But you know, I just feel like they got to consolidate. Like even WWE, they took the bag from Peacock and they rolled their network right into Peacock, you know, and
Yeah,
that makes Peacock much more valuable because now, you know, you've got those WWE pay-per-views.
yeah.
Like that was huge. I'm not gonna lie. I don't do a lot of pirating, but I never watched WWE pay-per-views back when you had to actually pay $40-$50 to watch them. We would get the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, that's it. Otherwise, I was finding a stream. But when I could go legit for $10 a month, no problem.
Felt
But
I felt the same way with my anime when Funimation and Crunchyroll came together. It was like, oh, this is perfect. Now, pretty much, I can get most all my anime on two different stream services. I got Crunchyroll for all the bulk of it. Then I got which has all the stuff that Funimation used to have. Then you got High Dive for some of the other exclusives, and then anything that's not on one of those is probably on Netflix and sometimes Disney Plus. So yeah, consolidation can be good because I definitely was looking around and was like I definitely own too many of these. I'm still holding on to HBO Max because love me some Succession and Southside and Barry. I've been watching those, and I got rid of YouTube TV because it's like no. But if Disney Plus, you take all the Disney stuff, which is pretty mid, but all the anime that's on Hulu, and then the live sports, like you got something. You got something with that one. I would definitely feel good about owning Disney Plus if it was merged with the Hulu originals shows plus the anime plus the live sports and then all the
I
other
mean, even
Disney.
further because they have like a bundle where you get ESPN Plus, you get Hulu, and you get Disney Plus. Just roll them all into one thing. Like, why are you doing these weird bundles when like you want all that content in one place? Like, people will pay for it, you know? And I don't know. I just feel like there's no need. I never like my brother has ESPN Plus because he got the bundle. So I just log onto his account so I can read some of the ESPN Plus articles. Because like they'll have like mock drafts and stuff like
Right.
that, you know, like speaking of that, like wasn't the NBA draft lottery supposed to happen?
It's happening soon. I don't think it happened yet.
For some reason I thought it was like supposed to be like yesterday or the day before.
I don't think so. I
But
did hear about it, but I don't think it's happening yet.
yeah.
But
Anyway, I do feel like it makes sense that they're losing because you know, I understand that parents, because like, you know, I have a niece and nephew, and I know they like to watch like Bluey and stuff like that. You don't know who Bluey is?
no,
Okay.
I don't think
Uh,
I don't think it doesn't sound like I should know who that is.
well, listen, when you have a niece and a nephew that are in that stuff, I didn't know who Bluey was, but Now every time I go to Target, I have to look and see if they have the latest Bluey stuffy. It's a little blue dog, and they're a bunch of family members. They're like, I don't know. It's a show from Australia. They love it.
Never heard
That's
of it.
that's now you'll see it everywhere. It's a big deal.
I've never seen it anywhere.
Like, but I know Disney Plus has that, and there's like if you have kids, I can understand like why, like you would keep it, but the content for Marvel and Star Wars isn't layered enough. Like a lot of it's at the same time, and if they had set it up right, you could have the Mandalorian rolling over into the next show, but they can't keep up with it. And you have to figure like they're like even Netflix is hurting a little bit now because they're realizing they're spending all this money and they're just not getting enough back out of it. And I don't know if you saw the retweet I did yesterday of Snoop Dogg talking about it. Like they were talking about all these streaming services, and it even goes into like, Spotify and all those things for music artists. He's talking about, the writer's strike and what they're striking for because they're not getting any residuals the way they did off terrestrial TV, like they're not getting anything. Snoop Dogg's like, how can I have 1 billion streams and that's not worth $1 million? Like, explain that to me. So that's something that like everybody's dealing with. They're not getting paid as much to do these shows. They're not getting as much residually because
they're lying.
Okay, cool.
Because they're lying about the numbers, by the way.
I'm sure, but like if you look at like the Big Bang Theory, right? It's on TNT, TBS, one of those stations, or this or whatever it may be. They like just show reruns for these nonstop, and they're getting residuals off of that because of the commercials that play during it. And like a lot of these people will get like pretty decent checks every month for something they did a long time ago, And that's why everybody wants to make it to 100 episodes.
Yeah, because the ads are it's different. It's a different thing when it comes. I see Snoop Dogg went off. I see Snoop Dogg went off the script and went on streaming AI and the right strike. Yeah, I see. Other.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I can see.
I don't know.
I can see.
I don't know if you want to show, but
yeah, I can see why. I can see why he would do that. Let me. Does he use it? Oh, who cares if he curses? It's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, he does. He does drop a couple F-bombs.
Yeah, that's fine.
Actually, what helped to usher in hip hop,
but I thought I actually really agreed with what he said.
From that perspective, I think,
and that's the situation that we're in with all these streaming services.
The way that we can now, like no other company. Just seeing exactly the pie chart of streaming in the United States.
Let's hear Uncle Snoop go off.
It's an exciting time, really. It is. I must say,
It's exciting, but streaming got to get their shit together, because I don't understand how the fuck you get paid off of that shit. I mean, can somebody explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million? Like, that shit don't make sense to me. Like, I don't know who the fuck running the streaming industry, if you in here or not. But nigga, you need to give us some information on how the fuck to track this money down. Because 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. That shit don't add up, and I have to say it. Because that's the main gripe with a lot of us artists, is that we do major numbers with streams and this shit, but it don't add up to the money. Like, where the fuck is the money? When I first came out, my records would sell based off of physical. If you sold 1 million copies, that means if $9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage, that's what it is. So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated, and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that. In the music industry, like, that's fucked up.
He's not wrong.
We need to find a way to figure that out.
He's not.
The same way the writers
I thought it was brilliant.
The writers are striking because streaming, they can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get an up oh, it did this many, here's another check. But on streaming, you got 300,000 hours that somebody watched your movie. Where's the money? And I know I'm going off a script right now, but fuck it. This is business.
Yeah.
This is business. You know what I'm saying? This is a room full of business people, and somebody may hear this and be able to do something about it so that way the next artist don't have to struggle or cry or try to figure out how to get to his money. Because some of these artists are streaming millions and millions and millions and millions of fucking streams, and they don't got no millions of dollars in their pocket. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk that talk.
I end up, and shout out to Uncle Snoop. He's right. As a musician, I could actually, as someone who's worked in the industry, I can actually speak to what he's talking about, because he's connecting both of the writers dealing with the movies and the TV show side, but he's also speaking from his experience as an artist and how he's dealing. He doesn't deal with quite the same people like the writers. They're dealing with the Netflixes and the Prime, and he's dealing with the Spotify's. And the reason why the music streaming isn't because, well, it depends on the platform, but yeah, it's like a title doesn't have a lot of the market share, but it compensates the artist on stream the most. You can actually make a lot of money on title if you're an artist and you get a lot of numbers. Problem is, most of the people use Spotify, and the people who aren't using Spotify are using Apple Music, and then everyone that's left over is it's Tidal, it's iHeartRadio and all this other stuff. But Spotify actually saw a movie adaptation of like the creation of Spotify, and essentially they're trying to just maximize profits. They in the beginning they dealt with they still have to deal with a lot of the garbage from the record companies, because they're greedy, they want their cut, and they're trying to gouge. Of course, Spotify is as well as the artist, but Spotify decided that they wanted to kind of do the free Pirate Bay model, but make it in a way that can at least compensate the artist to some degree. So they paid the least by far, but they justify it because they're like, well, we have the biggest market share. Everybody's here, so you'll get more exposure if you're on Spotify, and I'll leave the other stuff. So that's mainly the platform. That's just them. They could pay more probably, but they just don't want to. And Tidal made themselves artists first. They just don't have the market that a Spotify does. But Spotify could easily beat what if Spotify wanted to, they could match what Tidal's doing. But they have no incentive to, because they're making money, they're doing well, and they're like, oh, you don't like what you're getting paid from the streams, go fuck yourself. go to Tidal, go to Apple. Good luck. Go make a YouTube short. Make $20 from 300,000 views. have fun with that. That's we're in a position. But it's worse with these Netflixes and Prime, because when he mentioned something about hours watching, everything like that, it's different. Like the reason why you get so much money off those Big Bang Theory checks is because there's actually accountability there. Someone actually has to watch that. Someone pays ad space to show their ads to that audience, and that's reflective in their profits. And you can double check those numbers and those analytics. You can see who's watching, how, and everything like that. But with the Netflixes and the Amazon, they don't want to be transparent with the numbers. So when you have a big show like a Stranger Things, they'll tell you, oh, it was the best viewed. But what's a view? Amazon tried to play this game with the Rings of Power, and some leakers basically exposed them and showed that actually it didn't. Rings of Power didn't do very well, which we knew because it was a terrible show. But what they'll do is they'll do stuff like if you watch say you see that new Rings of Power just popped up. If you turn it on and you get 1 minute in and you're like, oh, this is ass, and turn it off, that's a view. So you view that, and they that's how they count it, and that they add that to the total number of views, and they say, see, this was the most viewed. We had 10 million, 20, all these millions of people watched our show. A lot of them may have watched it for 1 minute and turned it off, but we're counting it as a view. That's kind of the games they play. And because of the nature of the streaming platforms, you're not getting these ads, you're not getting these ad breaks, because the reason why the selling point of like a Netflix is like, oh well, I don't want to watch network. I don't like network TV because I'm getting constant commercials. I want kind of like the benefit of how we have cable, except with cable, you would have one network with this set of movies and one network with this set of movies. Whereas with a Netflix, you get the benefit of, the cable, no commercials, more adult content allowed, and with a big variety of stuff. So it's like, okay, that's cool. That's what we're paying for. We don't want ads, but if you're not getting those ads, it's not going to be as it's not going to be as profitable as a show compared to something that's airing on network TV, where you've got a Zoloft commercial coming on every 5 minutes. So because of that, there's less revenue for them. Their revenue is coming. A lot of revenue is coming from the subscription. So that means there's less money all around, less money to pay on residuals, especially when they're cooking the numbers, less money into the pocket of the writers. And now on top, to make matters worse, AI is potentially threatening. Like, the writers are trying to push back now. They're trying to make it illegal to use AI, though I'm 100% sure some of them use ChatGPT to help them with their scripts. Let's stop the cap. but now that's a viable alternative to having writers, like, especially with some of these nonsense mandates where it's like, okay, well, if you want this tax credit, if you want to work on this Hollywood production, well, you have to have this, this marginalized group and this marginalized group and this marginalized group. You have to have this amount of people in the writer's room. You have to have this amount of people on the set, this amount of people behind the camera. It's like, well, we can just eliminate a bunch of this with AI. We can do that. And the better AI is at writing these scripts, the more it devalues the writers, so that only the best of the best writers are going to be, worth their salt, and more of the mediocre mid writers that we see, a lot of them seemingly were hired by Disney, are kind of going to be left in the cold.
It's not even just that. I think in order to qualify for the Oscars and stuff, you're gonna have to meet some kind of a quota.
Yeah.
They're and I get it. I understand. I feel like the best person should be hired for every job. And I don't care who that is. I don't care what they look like. I don't care who they love, who they want to be, any of that stuff. Just hire the best people to do the job. I don't understand why this is so complicated.
Meritocracy is a form of white supremacy. Miss Jacques Glass, I did. I guess you haven't been reading your Robin DiAngelo lately. So I don't even know who that is. Well, if you don't know who that is, I suggest, and you want to brush up on your critical race theory, I recommend Disney Plus, The Proud Family, for the cartoon. give you all the info you need on racism and why what you just said is a form of white supremacy. I'm
sure anything I say is probably considered that by certain.
those are your great details. but I can totally see. Ideally, yes, you would think, okay, it doesn't matter. If you're good, if you got what it takes, you should get the gig. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. Especially now in Hollywood, it's more like, okay, well, we obviously want to have talented people here, but we also there's always going to be some degree of nonsense. Like it's like, well, this person may not be that good, but you know, my cut, he's the nephew of the producer, or she gives a really good blowjob. So that you're not. It has been whether it's race or not, the best person doesn't always get the job in Hollywood. That's kind of how it's always been. Even back in the day, they literally just wouldn't allow black people to even get any role other than servants. So there's always some degree of discrimination and favoritism going on in Hollywood. It's not necessarily about, like I said, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So getting gigs in Hollywood is more about how well you networked, and not what you look like, depending if you're an actor, and not necessarily how talented you are as well. If you had to look, or you knew the right people, or you performed well on the right couch, you can get yourself some opportunities. Now they're just kind of, now I guess they're trying to deflect from all the horrible stuff they did and still continue to do. So they're just like, okay, well, we're gonna really go in on this. We're all about inclusion and getting all these people these opportunities, which has hit or miss, But I appreciate more black, more non-white people getting opportunities. But at the same time, I don't like that you're giving non-white people opportunities in dog water, because now when people see diversity, they think immediately bad. Like, case in point, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the High Evolutionary was incredible, but when he was first, when the casting was announced, we saw some dum-dums on Twitter, yelling, crying about woke being woke, James Gunn being woke and best person for the job and blah. And James Gunn checked him like, no, this was the best person for the job. And you know what? He fucking was. He was one of the best villains I've seen, and he was the best person for the job. And that role, it didn't matter what the race was, because the role was an alien. Who cares what skin color they are? It's an alien. But you see, people are trained. A lot of people are trained now when they see a character whose ethnicity is different compared to how they're portrayed in the comic or the source material. They immediately are trained to assume, oh, this is going to be bad. We're going to get preached to, and a lot of times they're 100% right, and that's a problem because there's a right and a wrong way to do diversity in movies and film. And often in movies and shows, and oftentimes, too often, they do it the bad way, because the other thing about Hollywood is that they're lazy. they don't really care. They don't really care about a lot of these executives. Don't care. They just want money. They don't respect the source material. They don't respect the audience. They definitely don't respect the activism. They don't care. They just like, how can we make money? How can we get more people? And this is kind of the results that we've gotten. So it's definitely an issue. I can definitely see why the writers are upset, but I actually don't see the strike going well for them. With the this seems like a bad time. Like, Disney is hemorrhaging money. A lot of these streaming services are struggling and cooking the books. So I don't think there's literally any money for them to give at this point extra. And especially with people complaining about the quality of the writing, specifically with a lot of these recent projects, and now with AI being an opportunity for them to simply just cut some people off. Like, I don't think this is going to work out for them.
No, I don't think so either. And you were definitely right about your assessment, your non-spoiler review, I guess you could say, last week. I
Told you.
guess we're crossing over into Guardians now. The only thing that I wish I didn't hear, the only thing that anything that you said that affected me watching the movie was Adam Warlock. I went into it looking for reasons to hate him. Like, okay, he's telling me that I'm gonna like he was kind of a waste. All right, so why? And I get where you're coming from. It kind of makes sense for their story, but yeah, I get what you meant. But they made him that race of dingbats anyway. Whatever you call the yeah. I don't know.
Just call him a himbo. That's pretty much what he is.
Really what it was, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he evolves. Because basically they like, oh, he came out too soon. You know, he wasn't ready, so he's just not mentally developed. You know, she's basically a teenager.
He's basically Gold Drax. That's basically what he was.
It's a pretty special movie. You know, I think I think you meant to bitch. Yeah, I don't think I can say that again. I think I get away with one. I get one mulligan on using that apparently.
Yes.
So yeah, I just you're right. It was a very special movie. In every sense, you know. Definitely. It's a couple little issues here and there, but nothing big. I mean, it's about as close to a 10 as you're gonna get from me. You know, I haven't evaluated where it ranks in my favorites, but it's pretty up there. It's definitely gonna be in my top 5 for sure. Maybe top 3.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100% in my top 5, and I think I would definitely argue, top 3 or 4. It's my favorite, definitely my favorite of the Guardians so far. Maybe I'll rewatch the first one because it's definitely better than the second one. But
I agree.
And I revisited the first one a bit. I watched a pitch meeting for the first one to fresh my memory a bit, and I'm definitely leaning. I think the first one probably overall was more cohesive. The best part by far of Guardians 3 was, you know, the whole rocket bit. The rest of the characters, they didn't quite have as much compelling stuff going on, but I did appreciate the attempt to have a dynamic, you know, between the new Gamora and Peter. I thought they handled that decently well. For the most part, you know, it was mainly about Peter having to basically learn to let go, and they could have taken the easy way out and had him and Gamora, find their way back to each other at the end. I think it would have been a bit more satisfying, but I was fine. I was mostly fine with Peter kind of deciding to go and, you know, get in touch with his family. What I did have a problem with is Mantis. I love me some Mantis, and I don't know why they ended it that way for her and have her just go off on her own and find herself. Like, the whole thing with them being, her and Peter being siblings, it's like they introduced it they brought it up in the Guardians holiday special. Peter is always talking about how important family is to him. He literally leaves the Guardians to go and, you know, get to know his grandfather. He has a sister right there. Why wouldn't she come with him? Why? I don't understand why she needs to go off by herself now instead of getting to know her new family. Like, her and Peter they're literally family. Like, why wouldn't I understand why James Gunn wouldn't want to have Peter explore, since he's into family, why not have Peter try to explore that by bringing Mantis along with him? Like the whole family over Gamora thing was fine if you went all the way with it, but I'm like, man, it doesn't make sense. And it just felt weird to me that they kind of never really acknowledged that they're siblings anymore. it was kind of like a passing. It was supposed to be somewhat of a big deal in the holiday special, but it's just kind of like a passing reference in the third one, and they just never really do anything with it. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that development to begin with, because Ego isn't even Peter's father in the comics, so like they're not really siblings in the comics either. Mantis has kind of always, she's been with the Guardians, but she's also kind of done her own thing too. So I'm actually kind of fine with how they left it. Like, being siblings is still pretty new to them, and at the end of the day, she made her point. She's like, I've always just been subservient to someone else, and I just need to do my own thing, So I kind of got where she was coming from, and I understand why Peter maybe didn't put up more of a fight, because he also is making a lot of life changes himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's never even considered going back to Earth, and now that's a big thing he's gonna do. Like, how would that be for him to show up with, oh hey, here's my sister, the weird alien with antennas,
Which begs the question, why even introduce it in the first place? Like,
I agree.
Like,
I don't know what the payoff's gonna be.
Like I thought the Guardian, like, once again, love the Guardians 3. I thought this is going to go down. James Gunn's series is going to go down. It's pretty good, especially with the quality of the MCU we've seen. If that trend continues, but the Guardians of the Galaxy game, infinitely better story wise, and the way they handled the characters. I thought the dynamic between Mantis. I thought Mantis in general was portrayed much better in the game, and I liked her dynamic with Peter. They were not related. They actually, had a thing in some timelines, but I'm just like, I'm just was confused why Gunn would drop a bombshell like that on them and then just never do anything with it.
Okay, off. Yeah.
It was like
mentioned in passing, but yeah, not really.
And we also never really got anything with the Celestial angle. I thought it was unfortunate that never comes up again. really at all.
Didn't he kind of lose that though, with Ego dying?
It wasn't really clear, and even then, it was really never something that like they came up. I guess they kind of alluded to that it could have contributed to him holding Infinity Stone in the first movie, but then they shared that anyway. So it was just like, it just never really came up. And then he had the near death experience with Peter at the end, where that's another issue. I think that was one of the minor issues you maybe alluded to, where it's like a lot of parts of it were kind of predictable because it felt like formulaic, like we totally knew that they were going to have we totally knew that they needed to find a use for Adam Warlock in the movie. So at the end, they're going to have him in some way try to redeem himself by helping them with the high revolutionary. I thought that they were initially going to have him fight the high revolutionary instead of just randomly popping up and fainting, which was weird. But then when I saw they did the Peter death fake out at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to totally come in and save Peter
too, for sure.
Which was completely stupid because, as we know, Peter should not have any trouble in outer space because he famously has rocket boots and a space helmet that he can activate by tapping his.
Except the fact that James Gunn had to explain why he didn't have either of those in this case.
I was like, that just caught me. I was like, what? Why is this a thing? Like, we know.
I really feel like if you have to explain it in a tweet, it doesn't count.
It doesn't, because you're literally just, it's literally like a retcon. It's like, oh yeah, this is what like if it's not clear in the movie, like it was not at all alluded to why this would be a thing in the movie. Like he's Star-Lord. He's Star-Lord. He's on it. All their missions are space-based. They obviously needed to have equipment. Like it retracts. It's
the thing. It's just like he has to carry it around. But like, I don't know. I saw like a tweet where he's like, "Oh, he was in like a hurry, so he didn't bring his helmet with him."
That's not a thing. Like he wouldn't. He didn't leave his gun.
His new jetpack, so he doesn't wear his rocket boosters anymore. I'm like, but no, that's kind of like saying Iron Man doesn't wear his armor anymore.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's not only is it iconic, it's practical. Like, like why would he not have that? Especially because they ran into that issue during that initial heist where their spacesuits got flushed out in the space by dragons. It's like, well, why wouldn't Star-Lord of all people have his rocket boots and his helmet handy just in case he had to go out to the vacuum of space?
Yeah, he forgot them on nowhere or something like that. That was the tweet.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And I hate this. I hate this in all cases. I hate it when like, Feige will come out and try to tell you what happened off screen and like all these things. Like, no, if it didn't happen on screen, it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it's bad. It's just bad writing. That's what you need. You needed. You wanted to have a fake out death scene. You clearly did not. I think they clearly forgot about Adam Warlock. Oh shit, he was. We set up Adam Warlock. We have to find a way for him to be in this movie somehow.
Yeah,
it felt very much like the script was mostly done, and it was done without Adam Warlock in mind. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Marvel set up Adam Warlock. We have to fit into Adam Warlock." So they had to give him something to do. So instead of, for some reason, having them help them fight the High Evolutionary, because they were like, "Oh, let's just make the Guardians be the ones to deal with him. Let's instead have him save the day at the end. Like we'll just create a scenario where Star-Lord is about where we think Star-Lord is about to die, and then Adam Warlock swoops in and saves him." It's like, come on. it was just silly, but it didn't overall. Obviously, it didn't ruin the movie, but it was another one of those moments where it's like, come on, guys, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
this is silly.
Yeah. I mean, but like, I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of nitpicky. Like, I can live with considering some of the other choices that have been made in other movies. I can live with that.
I rolled my eyes, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah. I honestly, everything about it was great. I think they handled all of Rocket's situation really well.
Did you? How many times did you cry, Jay? Be honest.
It was really rough.
Don't lie to me, Jay.
Yeah, it was really rough at one point. Yeah, there were definitely some tears fought back. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we can spoil. Different parts got what I think the part that got me. I'm trying to remember which exact part, because there was a couple that was like, oof. But I think the part that might have got me was when they were giving their names, that was more cute than anything. that was just adorable. I think it was Lila's. I think it was Lila, the death. I think it was her death.
Yeah.
That was just so fucking depressing. I was just so sad. And then them finding out that they're actually not going to get saved, and just thinking, like, you knew they weren't going to make it, like you knew the escape wasn't going to fail, but you kind of were hoping, oh, they're going to figure it out, maybe they're off somewhere, and then you're just like, oh no, they're not. They're not going to escape, are they? It's like, oh no.
Yeah,
that was so good. And then seeing Star-Lord's face when Rocket woke up, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was good stuff, man. I was afraid that I love where they left it. I really do. Because if you decide to ride it out into the sunset, if there's not a Guardians 4, okay, we can live with it. But it was left in a place where there can be, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't understand. I guess I'm not in that space, so I just can't relate to not wanting to play a character anymore. You know? Like, if you're telling me that, like, once every 3 or 4 years, I get to show up and throw on a little bit of, like, face paint and, do these massive movies with great characters that people love, I would do it in a heartbeat. I can't relate to walking away from that.
I could definitely see it, like, because from a perspective of an actor, especially a male actor for these Marvel movies, because there's a lot more that's asked of them in these major roles. Like, you have to be in ridiculous shape. There's a lot of nonsense that goes on just in general dealing with Marvel. So from outside looking in, it could be like, oh yeah, you get to be like a superhero. How you're getting paid millions of dollars to be a superhero. How awesome would that be? But as a human, I know, and I've dealt with some people in the acting industry, so I know any job can get annoying. Like like a job is a job. Like, no one, like we can romanticize it. I definitely would not complain about the money, but once you already have the money, and that's not the primary motivator anymore, then it's like, okay, do I want to sit in this makeup chair for 6 hours getting all this stuff put on me? Do I want to go on this ridiculous diet and weight training program so that I can get an 8-pack just so I can stand in front of a green screen? Like, I could definitely see if if you've been doing it for a while, especially if you're not someone who has a passion for that character. Like, it's like, I can see Iman Vellani never getting tired of the role, because she's clearly a nerd. She loves Marvel. She loves everything about Marvel and superheroes and stuff like that. So I can see her never not wanting to play Kamala. But every actor isn't in it, because they love the source material. A lot of them are just there because it's a paycheck. And some of them grow into it. Others are just like, it's a job. It's not something I'm passionate about. So they just, a lot of them just look at it like, well, Marvel is kind of big right now, so if I get in with a Marvel movie, I can get some big checks, some steady work, and then I can figure out the rest later. So I could definitely see from that perspective why someone like like Chris Hemsworth, he obviously doesn't need the money. He's massive. He's a massive star. He seems to enjoy playing Thor, but he didn't seem to particularly enjoy playing Thor under the direction of Taika Waititi. that he also found out that he could have some major health problems down the line, so he's like kind of rethinking his priorities and everything like that. So I could definitely see why some people could want to wander elsewhere, especially if you're a theater, maybe you're a theater performer, maybe you aspire, you have an ego, which I'm sure all these actors do, and you think you can be more than just a superhero, and you want to try yourself, elsewhere, and see how well it could do. So I don't blame anyone for them to walk away. As fans, it sucks, but as someone that can relate to, like, the business side, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like whatever Marvel does moving forward, they need to make sure that if they're going to cast these major characters, they need to lock them in. Like, say, hey, listen, we're starting an arc here, and we need to know that we can count on you the whole way. So,
I mean, Marvel has a lot bigger problems than just finding just actors. Like, that's the least of their worries. finding an actor that could play any of these roles long term. Their problem is, casting is definitely an issue. You know, they've been, you know, you argue they've made some curious casting choices, but it's mainly been they got to figure out a way to, you know, start making money again, because these movies aren't getting it. they're not doing what they used to, and a lot of it is because they burned a lot of goodwill throughout Phase 4 from the movie going audience, like not even getting into the political stuff, just purely the content itself. It's like they try to oversaturate the market with Marvel product, and it fell because it turns out quality matters over the quantity. So I don't know, maybe Secret Invasion, I think it will be a better thing, and maybe it'll be a hit for them. We'll see how good it is, but they have yet to have a hit on Disney Plus for any of their Marvel shows. Like, I think if we're looking at the highest performing Disney Plus shows, where we're talking 1.6 million, like, this is like they haven't been resonating really, and they got to figure out why. I mean, we know why, but they have to figure out why and turn it around. And I think we've seen some signs that they're kind of getting it. Like we did the story last week where they're hiring bigger name writers. You know, the whole thing with Phase 4 was that they would hire writers and directors that had little to no prior experience on big, you know, multi-million-dollar projects. Didn't have a lot of credits, and it definitely showed because a lot of the stuff came out amateurish. So maybe we'll see them, you know, scale back, cut less corners. Hopefully they figure out the VFX situation. But I'm gonna take a wait and see approach, because it'll be, even if they do all those things, it'll be a while before we see the results, because all the stuff is in the can already. Like, Secret Invasion's been made. The Marvels, after 5 delays, it's been made. That's probably not going to be very good. So we're looking at the other projects. You know, Blade, a lot of them are on hold because of the writer strike. So who knows what the hell's that? Who knows what the hell's going on with that?
Strike's going to affect a lot of things. I think I talked about it last week, but the last time there was a writer's strike, one of my favorite shows got canceled off of it.
Jericho, yeah.
Yeah, and like it was one of those first things where like the internet actually kind of saved it a little bit and got them like at least to the finish line with, you know, an ending that could make sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're already going to start seeing things. So like there's this show that my wife really likes called Call Me Kat, and I watch it with her. It has Mayim Bialik, and it's not that great, but I think they're ending, and I don't know if it's because of the writer's strike. It might just be because they just canceled it, but
that's very possible. I know Gotham.
Yeah,
I know Gotham Knights is potentially. It's weird. Like, CW is purging a bunch of their stuff, but I'm hearing they might be deciding between Gotham Knights and Superman and Lois, which hilarious. But, you know, on the one hand, Superman and Lois is, you know, good and people actually watch it, but it's expensive. On the other hand, Gotham Knights basically costs no money at all to make, but nobody watches it. To me, it's an easier choice, but, you know,
yeah,
I'm not a CW executive, so.
Yeah. So I think this is going to have a far-reaching effect. I don't know. That show was left in a place where, again, they could have gone to another season if they wanted to. But I read something where Mayim Bialik said that they're not going to be moving forward, and they left it in a place where you can kind of just imagine what would have happened. So I don't know.
That's nice.
Like it feels like I thought the show was kind of cheesy, but you know, she liked watching it. One of those shows we would watch together. It was only a half hour. I don't know. I don't know how it did performance wise.
I've never heard of the show.
Blossom owns a cat cafe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, literally, like, that's where we're at. So I don't know.
Cat cafe. Oh, wow.
Yeah, she used to be a professor and had a midlife crisis and bought a cafe where she takes in stray cats and also sells donuts and coffee.
So a weird show, but
Yeah, it was based in Louisville, Kentucky. It was weird.
I mean, to be fair, there a lot of anime have really weird premises and are pretty good. So you never know. I guess just based on the premise, like one of the best anime of the year is about a doctor who's a big fan of this teenage pop idol, and he ends up getting murdered and reincarnating as her son.
Well, before we go, because Thor is giving me the eyes right now, like, dude, I gotta go. Not me for once. I do want to. I saw you saw my tweet earlier. I do want to call out all the my eyes burn playing games at 30 frames per second people.
Yeah.
That are currently probably balls deep in Zelda.
Absolutely.
That works still.
Yeah.
Because that game looks trash.
30 FPS is 30 FPS, Jay.
Dude, I don't care personally, like, but like I have never played a Switch game that looks great, okay? Like
I've never seen a Switch game that looks great.
Like I love playing my the Pokemon games on the Switch, but like I don't know, unless you're actually playing it on that 7-inch screen, like the game looks stretched because like I'm streaming or recording at 1440, so it just looks washed out. Like they obviously use the art styles they use because it has to make up for the fact that it's gonna get stretched, and
it's on the Switch.
people, it's just funny to me how people make excuses when it benefits their argument.
Of course.
Like it's like, oh, my eyes hurt. My eyes are trained for 60 frames per second. I get headaches on 30 frames per second. Okay.
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom is out. 30 FPS.
So, I saw it trending, and I just started going down that rabbit hole, and like just the mental gymnastics people were doing to justify how
it was hilarious.
But it's a Switch console game. Like you expect that with the Switch. Your eyes expect that?
Literally, your arguments was either your eyes can't handle 60 anything less than 60, or they can. Like either one. Like pick one. Like
yeah. So your eyes know which console you're playing on.
So
is that how it works? It's like, oh wait, I'm on the Switch, so they're trained.
So if you're playing on console, it has to be 60 or it's unplayable. But if you're playing on Switch, it's fine.
Yeah.
My eyes perfectly are unharmed. Yeah, bullshit. Like they literally just want a clout chase. That's what it is.
Yeah, I've been informed that Thor is trying to play both sides of the street right now. That somebody already took care of him 15 minutes ago, so not necessarily in as big of a rush.
Thor out here trying to finesse.
He knows how to play the game. He's no dummy.
Smart dog.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Ever since his situation, he's been different. Like it's very strange. He lays down on the floor in between us a lot more lately. like he's trying to like keep an eye on us both. I don't know. It's been interesting. It's been really I think he knows something happened and it shook him a little bit. So but yeah, he's doing okay though. He's just laying down looking like it's like whatever. So
speaking of people coming through, I tweeted about this. Jamie Foxx is apparently okay. There's he had a undisclosed health emergency a couple weeks back, and people were really concerned about him. We heard reports initially that he was in recovery, but then some media outlets were reporting that his family were expecting the worst, and that created quite a stir. And then today his daughter came out and said, that was cap. he's been out of the hospital for weeks. he's recovering. So good to know that Jamie Foxx is good. I would have been absolutely devastated if we lost Jamie Foxx this year. I love Jamie Foxx. Please protect Jamie Foxx at all costs. Whatever happened, let's hope that they can fix it so that it doesn't happen again, because that man is a national treasure.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I really I've always enjoyed Jamie Foxx and everything he does. It would be a tragedy if he left us before he was actually on The Masked Singer, because I feel like every season somebody says it's Jamie Foxx, like for everybody. Like literally every male singer has to be Jamie Foxx at some point. So I feel like one of these days it really will be him. But
forgot all about that show. I've never watched. Yeah. I've never watched more than 10 seconds of it.
I like that show. Like it's definitely one of those shows I watch with my wife. Like we've got like a few shows that we watch, and that's definitely one of them that I do enjoy it.
When I get married, I'm definitely looking for a wife that wants to curl up and watch anime.
Yeah, I have no complaints. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm glad that we found a few shows that like she doesn't make me watch the Hallmark movies, and I know why. It's because I just sit there the whole time and nitpick everything.
Here's the thing: I can watch the Hallmark movies. I don't have a problem with. With those.
Actually, no, it's the Lifetime ones that are stupid. They're all awful. They all have the same plot.
Because my mom would watch a lot of. I always make fun of her watching old stuff, but. I could watch a Hallmark movie. I could watch Columbo, Murder She Wrote. You know, I could get down and appreciate some of that. If Netflix has any form of rom-com, I'll watch it. You know, I actually am not opposed to the rom-coms and the stuff like that. I can appreciate it. It's just the reality stuff is kind of just like no.
I actually kind of like. I like Survivor. I like Big Brother. I think it's kind of cool. I like The Challenge is my favorite.
I feel like I grew out of the reality stuff. Like I used to be more into it
until this, and so like The Challenge is the one that I like the most.
I feel like reality shows, especially now, have gotten so just awful that like the show about the MILFs that are banging their kids, or whatever. It's like what MILF? I think it was called MILF Manor. Literally MILF. like what are we doing as a society?
Yeah, it's always something.
Yeah, I can't do it. Reality TV, I can do it. Script. I can watch a occasional sitcom. I can watch. I like streaming stuff. I like watching that. But yeah, y'all got that. Like I watched The Real World back in the day, but I can't do it anymore. I can't do any reality TV anymore.
Yeah. Oh, what else? I actually like Bar Rescue, which isn't really. That's kind of reality.
Yeah, I do.
I like that one a lot.
I do like the cook. If it's cooking, I can kind of, if it's like a vloggy type of thing, I get down with it, like diners, drives, that that's a great show. I could, but that's because I'm a fatty. I love food. So
San Antonio, I went to breakfast at one of the places that was on that show, just at random.
see that's one I was watching that at like 3:00 in the morning. I was like, man, I want to I want to get when I'm basically rich and retired. I want to take a food tour around America and visit some of these places, these famous places, and experience eating there. That's just the things I think about. The things I think about at 3:00 in the morning. Food,
Yeah.
food.
Trust me, I'm there with you.
I think we can wrap it up for this week. Appreciate everyone as usual. Shout out to Thor. I'm looking forward to my plushie.
Yes, everybody should have gotten their email today. If they, I want to thank everybody that came through. We ended up selling 112.
Ooh.
They lowered the number to 100. We had to hit 100 instead of 200. I'm thankful for that.
I see the email.
Yeah, I will no longer be making any money off of it, which is fine, because I never cared about money anyway.
Because you shaved money bags. It was about the principle. You know what I mean?
It was a passion thing. You know what I mean? Like, it was just something I wanted to exist.
Have your mom have it. You know?
Yeah, I bought 20 of them, so I'll have a few.
I will gladly display mine whenever it arrives.
And I appreciate that. It looks like it'll be sometime in July or August. So, just thank you to I know whoever, if anybody got one, I just know that I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy it. It's a great little guy. Very excited.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you once again to the chat. Captain Eastwood, Nava, Megadeth, Jedi. Appreciate all of you for tuning in every week. Things are going to get real interesting with all the Summer Game Fest. Hopefully we can get some special guests popping off. I've been slacking on looking for new guests. But I will follow up with my contact in regards to Yuri. I definitely want to get Mr. Lowenthal on the show, and I'll start expanding, looking elsewhere, see who we can get. So if we do have someone, we'll let you know, maybe a little teaser. But in the meantime, I'm Sadat the Gamer.
I am Jay Shockblast.
Zip it up and zip it